Hello and welcome back to In Defense of a Movie podcast. My name's Dan. Joining me always is Aaron.
Who's your daddy?
And
I'm your daddy.
welcome to December 2024. And Aaron, finally, we have a Christmas movie with a name that actually makes sense. We're talking about 2006's Deck the Halls. This is a PG-rated, hour and 32-minute Christmas classic, rated a whopping 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, this has to be our lowest-rated movie.
It's still Master of Disguise.
What? I can't believe that. I saw 6% and I was like, there's no way this isn't it, but that makes sense.
I think last time I checked, Master of Disguise was 1%.
Oh, geez. Wow.
The audience score for this is 30%, so not too much of a disagreement there. Aaron, happy holidays to you.
Happy Hanukkah to you as well, Dad.
We are starting off December with a Christmas film, and this is a little weird because I didn't know this movie existed until you brought it up.
Well, you know, anything with Danny Devito in it, I'm there for it. Huge Danny DeVito, so much that I'm actually going to get one of my friends to tattoo his face on me. That's how much of a Danny DeVito fan I am.
I love it. That's incredible. So, did you go see this when it was in theaters?
Oh, I wish. So, I think that I may have discovered this movie last year. Mm-hmm. I think I may have also watched it, but had no memory of ever watching it.
Yeah.
At least according to one of my friends. But no, I did not see it in the theaters. Maybe I watched it last year, or maybe I watched it this year for the first time for this podcast.
I legitimately have no idea how I missed this film.
Yeah, because you are a bit of a Christmas movie connoisseur, hey?
I feel like I've seen most of them, if not all of the core films, and I really like Matthew Broderick, so I'm like, what? When did this happen? Where? When you first sent this to me, this is a weird thing. You sent this to me, for those of you who don't know, Aaron usually curates our movie list of stuff that we tackle, and so I went to see if it was on Netflix, and it was in like the top 10 trending on Netflix, like right now, as of recording this. So I thought that it came out this year and that you were suggesting something that like a Netflix film that had just came out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until halfway through the movie I realized that it wasn't a current film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty bizarre.
2006, I was in grade 11, so that was quite some time ago.
In the peaceful town of Cloverdale, Dr. Stephen Finch was Mr. Christmas.
This is a busy time of year, so we have to have a game plan. All must-sing caroling requests to be submitted in writing.
Until the competition moved in.
Who moves in the middle of the night?
I'm Buddy Hall. We just moved in across the street.
These are my babies. Can I live here?
Daddy, come look. You can see every house in the country from space.
Where's our house?
You can't see our house.
Just hoping that one day I'd do something big.
So we got Matthew Broderick as Steve Finch, Danny DeVito as Buddy Hall, Kristin Chenoweth. Am I saying that right? Chenoweth.
I think so.
Tia Hall is who she is in the movie.
Yeah.
Kristen Davis as Kelly Finch. Mm-hmm. Aaliyah Shawkat. I don't know. Maybe from Arrested Development as Madison Finch.
Yeah.
There we go. And Dylan Blue as Carter Finch. And we have Kelly and Sabrina Aldridge as Ashley and Emily Hall. So they are the two twin daughters. And then we got a bunch of random cameos. We have Fred Armisen, George Garcia.
Yeah.
There's a few other actors that I noticed. So just a lot of randoms in this. It almost seemed like, hey, you're an actor and you're my friend. What are you doing this day? You want to come be in this movie for a couple seconds?
Totally.
I guess I'm the new Christmas guy. This isn't over yet.
You're gonna cut his power, aren't you? SpongeBob, this is SquarePants.
What?
He's coming! This is the best Christmas ever.
We're gonna settle this like men.
They're acting like a bunch of 12-year-olds.
You want lights? I'll give you lights.
Oh, gosh.
You sure you've been watering that thing? It went up awfully fast.
This movie is about a Christmas miracle. And the Christmas miracle is that one man can string up so many lights by himself. Not to mention have the physical limits that Danny DeVito's body has. But yet, he pulled it off. No, this movie is actually, it's a bit of your classic Christmas movie where you got all the classic Christmas tropes, you know, new neighbor moving in, wants to do something big and getting himself noticed. Meanwhile, you got the curmudgeon neighbor who is set in his way and doesn't want to see change, or the change he does want to see, he wants to see it coming from himself and not necessarily the new guy in town.
Yeah.
So the way that this movie starts is Danny DeVito's character, Buddy, he's moving in next door and it's late at night. And Matthew Broderick, Steve, he takes a look through the window, realizes there's neighbors moving in, and then it kind of jumps to the next morning. The next morning scene is pretty funny where he comes and he like steals his coffee and his newspaper without him noticing, which I thought was, as somebody that, has a little bit of sticky fingers sometimes, found that to be very impressive. Just the pose and, nonchalant. Yeah, it was like sleight of hand almost, but I thought that was very entertaining.
Whoa, big guy. Whoa, take it easy. Whoa, you're spazzing out on me. Look, you're having a seizure. Whoa, I got tasered once. It looked exactly like that. And I'm man enough to say I wet myself.
Who are you?
I'm Buddy Hall. We just moved in across the street. You don't happen to have a cat, do you?
No.
Oh, good, because I was moving in last night. I accidentally dropped a fridge on one. Thank God most of it got away.
They moved to this new town, Danny DeVito and his wife, so Buddy Hall and Tia Hall, and they're getting settled in. Buddy starts a new job at a car dealership where I would say he's not very satisfied being a car salesman.
Yeah.
It seems that he has a lot of sales experience, so this job was a little bit kind of lackluster to him. And, he comes home and his wife asks him, like, hey, how was your day? And, he's just kind of mopey and just not really excited about his day-to-day, right? Mm-hmm. Later that day, his daughters are looking on Google. Well, I don't think it's Google Earth. What do they call it? My Earth? Anyways, it's a satellite program where you could view your house. Buddy has an issue with the fact that you can't see his house from space. So he gets the brilliant idea to put up lights all around his house so that it can be seen from space. And so what he's trying to do is just give his family something exciting to look forward to. Also to give himself a little bit more meaning that's just more than working his mundane salesman job.
Yeah.
And so he goes and he starts going crazy with the lighting. He puts up all the Christmas lights he has, and then the next day he's trying again to see it from space, and he realizes that it's still not visible from space. So he goes into town, buys more Christmas lights, pretty much spends all his money trying to, improve it more and more. And while all of this is happening, Matthew Broderick's character, Steve, he is just the Christmas Grinch, He's trying to stop him from doing everything because not only is he trying to stop him, but Steve is also the Christmas guy in his town. So he feels that he's getting a little bit overshadowed by Buddy's big light show.
Yeah.
So he starts going into sabotage mode to, sabotage him from showing his lights and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that's generally the movie in a nutshell. Once you get towards the end there's a little bit of fighting back and forth between them, and then comes the big issue where they both alienated their families and their families leave and they're both left home by themselves, and then they're left to their own devices and have to sit there and question what they did and then come up with another Christmas miracle idea to get their families to come back home and save Christmas.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, as far as classic warring neighbors Christmas films go, this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, it very much gave me Jingle All the Way vibes. Did you find that at all? Yeah, okay.
Jingle All the Way, Little Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah.
And a little bit of Christmas Vacation. Kind of all just thrown in a blender.
Yeah. This movie, I would say, is not super well thought out. Lot of continuity errors. Lot of, I don't know, just like that would never happen in real life. Not only that, but just certain things that go on in this movie. Like there is a part where Buddy forges Steve's signature for a car.
Yeah.
And if that happened in real life, that you would go to jail.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we have Steve shooting fireworks at Buddy's house, where that would probably be considered assault and maybe even arson.
Yeah.
So there is like things like that go on in this movie. Yeah, exactly. Where
there's so many crimes in this film.
Yeah, so many crimes, stealing of electricity, just things like that. I kind of think that's where this movie kind of takes a dip, because people like realism, and this movie is meant to be entertaining more than it is meant to be realistic.
Yeah, like the fact that Buddy Hall has gotten this far in his life and isn't in jail is kind of alarming.
Yeah.
It's almost like he moves from town to town once he burns bridges and pisses off a whole community. He just packs up his family and goes to the next one.
Well, it was really interesting because this could almost be like in the same universe as Matilda, because Danny DeVito almost plays the exact same character he plays as he does in Matilda.
I never tracked that.
Yeah, it's interesting, because he's like a shady car salesman in Matilda, and I wouldn't put him as a shady car salesman, but I mean, can you be a car salesman without being shady? So
good point.
Yeah.
We gotcha.
Are you okay?
You walk face first into that buzzsaw. Money on my desk by the end of the day. No checks.
That's not possible. Mr. Murray owns the dealership.
You know, guys, I hate to break it to you, but like all houses are visible from space.
Yeah.
With Google Maps or whatever. But the fact that there's a live feed where you can view people's houses from space, it's like a massive invasion of privacy.
Oh, yeah. And that's what this movie falls victim to, is that there's things like that.
Yeah.
Anyone watching it these days would be like, no, that doesn't exist. It's pre-recorded images. And they get updated like I want to say maybe once a year, if that.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure you need some sort of subscription to a service if you want to have like live footage of your house from space. So, you know, I would say that's probably plot hole number one.
There's so many. It got to the point where I actually had this dumb theory that Steve Finch died when he fell through the frozen lake and the ice.
Okay.
And that the rest of the film is just like him in purgatory or some sort of weird Christmas Carol fever dream.
Yeah. No, he really hates Christmas, actually, and this is hell for him.
Yeah, exactly. So Matthew Broderick's character actually is dead midway through the film.
Yeah.
And Danny DeVito, Buddy Hall, is just like the devil or something. Some sort of horrible entity just ruining his life.
Yeah, just a demon that's sent there to torture him.
Where in the world did you find it?
Eugene Young down at the hardware store sold it to him. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, beautiful. Yes, and these horses. These horses, I especially like the way you've duct taped the antlers to their heads.
Yeah, well, apparently reindeer are not indigenous to the region.
Well, this has been fun. So let's go take the picture, huh?
Wait, what picture? Are you talking about your Christmas picture? Mm-hmm. You should take it here in the sled.
That's a great idea.
Take it in the sled.
That's a horrible idea because we always take our picture in front of the fireplace. It's a tradition.
But wouldn't it be nice to try something new this year, honey?
No, I don't think so.
Here,
No.
here's a hat.
Overall, Aaron, what did you think of this film? Like, what were your first impressions?
So, okay, before I get into that, let me get my soapbox back out so that I can just preach to you about Danny DeVito. Now,
okay, here we go.
I am a huge Danny DeVito fan, and this movie made me be like, why am I a Danny DeVito fan? Why is there this cult following of Danny DeVito out there? I don't know. Have you noticed it, Dan, where people just absolutely love him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny, and he is absolutely unhinged in that show. Very funny, where I think he just plays almost like an accumulation of all his characters into this one weird guy. And then I also want to mention the episode of Friends where he is a stripper. Do you know which episode I'm talking about?
Did someone call for the long arm of the law? should warn you, I have a concealed weapon. I hope you're familiar with this state's penal code.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay, yeah. So I remember watching that episode like years, when I was young and Friends first came out. And, you just think it's kind of funny. But then I remember watching it when I was doing a rewatch of Friends, maybe a couple years ago. And watching that scene again, it just made me fall in love with Danny DeVito all over again. And I think why it is just because he's such an odd-looking man, right? He's short, but whenever you see him in the movies, he never shies away from that, Yeah. He's always like 100% real in whatever he's doing, and it's very much like Danny DeVito, right? And what this movie did too, and that episode of Friends, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia does as well, is they play well to his strengths, right? So they use his size. They use that he's like a little bit of a weird looking dude to make comedy out of it. And I think that's why I love Danny DeVito so much, because despite all the shortcomings that he has, he is making the best of his situation. And I don't know, I perceive it as being very genuine. And just a huge fan of Danny DeVito. Okay, now I can get off my soapbox, but I had to get that off my chest there. Huge fan of him. Like, I don't think I've seen a Danny DeVito movie that I haven't liked.
Oh, he's the best, yeah. He was cemented in my mind after he played the Penguin in Batman Returns. Like, as a kid, I was just so enamored with his performance. I just had never seen anything like it. And so he's amazing in this film, too. I would say he kind of steals the show. I don't think Matthew Broderick's doing his best work in this movie by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. I really feel like Danny DeVito runs away with this film.
You know what? I feel that Matthew Broderick is a great co-star to Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
You always need the slightly more sane, normal dude for Danny DeVito to go like a little crazy on. So I think he did play it well. And I think it might not be Matthew Broderick, but I just think the way that his character was written is just a little bit on the boring side. But he's supposed to be on the boring side, right? Because they talk about like when he's doing his Christmas photo with his family, and even the conversation that he has with his wife at one point, his whole family seems to be pretty annoyed with him because he doesn't really listen to what their needs are and just kind of does his own thing. And then not only that, but tries to plan every moment of their life. So like I said, I think it just might be the way that his character is written.
Yeah, like he's very detail-oriented, very stuck in his ways, very conservative, very much just wants everything to be the same way year after year after year. And like you said, his whole family's over it. They want something different for themselves. And Danny DeVito's character, the thing that's jumped out at me right away, which I thought was a really cool character detail, is he's an exceptional salesman.
Yeah.
There's this kind of throwaway gag that he sells a vehicle to the owner of the dealership, which is, I'm sure, is like some classic salesman joke out there or whatever.
Yeah.
But he still doesn't like his job. He's not satisfied in it. And the core theme around his character is he just wants to feel seen and do something important. And I don't know a single person on earth that can't relate to that, right? Like, I have my day job. I'm good at my day job. I've been with the same company for a long time, but I'm doing this podcast because I want to do something creative and I want to feel seen, right? Like there's this core message in it that was so relatable, and you just get this feeling that he's burnt out. He's had enough, and even though he excels professionally, it's just not. He needs something more, and it drives him to do the most elaborate Christmas light display I've ever seen committed to film. And like you said, just the fact that he put it all up himself is insane. He doesn't get any help. He's constantly working on it.
Yeah.
He really gets obsessed with it, which I think they could have leaned into even more than they do.
Yeah.
For me, I felt he was so relatable and so well written. And even though he committed various crimes and felonies and was kind of awful sometimes, the place that was all coming out of, it just felt very believable, and I liked that a lot.
Sold the car the first 5 minutes.
Buddy, no. Oh my God! I told you things were gonna work out. What, baby?
great.
proud of you. I'm
Great,
so
great,
proud
great,
of
great,
you.
great. Yeah. It's great.
Buddy? Buddy?
Yeah,
Buddy?
yeah.
Bud?
I know.
Don't you even. You always do this. You start out great. You lose interest. And the next thing you know, I'm up to my neck in cardboard boxes.
No, it's great. I'm a car salesman.
Hey, that's a good job.
Yeah, it's a great job. Great job. Car salesman, carpets, copiers, futons. Man, it's all the same. I don't know. I just hoping that, one day I'd do something big. Something important. Something monumental.
You are. You're going to pay off our monumental debt.
Oh.
Let's get into a little bit of the continuity errors because I thought that was a lot of fun to talk about.
Sure.
Like, number one, obviously, the way that he sets up the lights, right? Because there's a scene where Steve comes out of his house at, was it 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning? And this was his first set of lights that he set up. But the fact that he did that by himself within what I can only imagine is a span of 4 to 5 hours, which was pretty impressive. And then from that point, he just keeps adding more and more and more lights. Yeah. One of the craziest scenes for me, though, was near the end when their families are staying in the hotel and they set up this like light pathway that leads them from the hotel all the way back to their house, which is insane.
Yeah. Not only did they do that, but they had time to cook Christmas dinner.
Yes,
like, what?
Yeah.
Was that an hour it took them to do that?
Oh, and that's what I mean is like time is irrelevant in this movie. It does not exist.
No, this movie seriously overestimates how quickly one can put up Christmas lights. And the funniest part about that path thing I was going to mention is at the end of the movie, they don't get everyone to collect the lights or bring them back. They get all the neighbors pitch in and like bring new lights to the house. So they just leave that path of lights from the hotel to his house. They just leave that up. They don't even touch it. It's like all the lights just came down, made a path, and then at the end they're like, well, I guess we have no lights. And then all the neighbors show up with new lights. That's like, first off, how are there still lights available in town? Like if Danny DeVito's character bought them all. Second off, where is the power to the path coming from, and like who's gonna clean that all up? Like what's happening?
No. And the other thing that I want to mention too is like just the type of lights that they have, because at one point they have this LED kind of live, it's almost like a scoreboard, right? Yeah. Which is insane, but there's two kind of issues that I take with that. Number one is he has like this little DJ turntable that he's controlling the lights with when you would obviously need some sort of computer program. Like you could have just put a laptop there at the minimum and everyone would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But just the most unqualified like light technician just making this crazy light attraction.
My favorite gag in the entire film is when the lights hit 4 a.m. and he's doing the little broadcast sign off. Yeah. And then at the very end, his face appears and he says, "Good night, Steve," and winks.
Good night, Steve.
Good night, buddy.
The commitment that Buddy Hall has gone through, like the sheer audacity to do all this is unbelievable. And I don't know how many thousands of dollars in debt he is by the end of this movie, but it has got to be astronomical.
That is one thing I'm glad, and I will say that because the entire time I was watching this movie, I just kept being like, how is he affording these lights? Yeah. And then, somewhere in the movie he says, we're not going to be able to use our credit cards for like the next 10 years. And you're like, okay, at least they answered one of my questions.
Oh, gosh. How did you afford it? How did you ever afford it?
Now, let's just say we're not going to use our credit cards for the rest of our lives.
Tell me what you want to defend about this movie.
So there's a couple things I want to defend. The first thing is that this movie was shot in the greater Vancouver area, and it was actually shot in the middle of July. Mm-hmm. And this movie has some of the best winterizing I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah.
We know what snow looks like as Canadians, right?
Mm-hmm.
We deal with it every year. And I'm telling you, this movie, you would never guess it was set in the middle of summer. I think it looks really, really good. The production design is fantastic. The town where they do like the ice skating thing and everything, they shot that in Cloverdale here down in the greater Vancouver area. And if it looked kind of familiar to you, Cloverdale was the stand-in for Smallville in the Smallville show.
Yeah.
It's been in a ton of different shows, but that's an actual street you can drive down, and it's really cool to go there because you get, all these shows jump out at you, it keeps getting utilized for like, Americana. In this case, it's Massachusetts, I think. But
yeah.
I got a kick out of that because I was like, hey, I know this place. I could go there today if I wanted to.
Though, Dan, the snow, like, they did a fantastic job of just covering everything in snow, but I will say that the snow is extremely fake looking.
It is. I think I'm defending the fact that it was in the middle of summer and they did so much of it.
It's actually really cool because I was watching a behind the scenes here, and they actually built the two homes, Buddy and Steve's home, and then they also built a they called it like a military hangar, and so it's a temporary structure that they built over top of these houses because they had a lot of scenes that they got to film at night, and if they were waiting to film at night, like, it would have took forever to film this movie. So I thought that was really cool because for a $50 million budget movie to have that sort of stuff in it, I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, they originally wanted to film this on a soundstage, but the sound stages weren't big enough.
Yeah.
So they went through the trouble of building two 4,000 square foot homes.
Yeah.
And then this 60-foot tall superstructure tent over the entire two properties.
Yeah.
Which it's nuts because people bought those houses afterwards. They're actual houses. And the light sequencing too, I really want to defend that because that's not CGI. Like this is all programming and all lighting that a crew of people had to do. They mocked the entire facade of the house up in one of the studios in Burbank or something, and then, did all the programming there, and then had to rehang everything on the actual house here in Langley or wherever they shot at. And none of that was CGI. That was actual lighting, actual performance, actual set decoration. That kind of blew me out of the water because the amount of trouble they went through just for this house alone was insane. And doing this big superstructure tent thing instead of filming on a soundstage was just insane to me. In the middle of summer, you're creating this winter biome under this huge tent just to film this little comedy is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Very unbelievable. And like you said, the set design was what you would want for a Christmas movie, right?
Yeah.
Covered in snow, two big houses. Doesn't get more Christmas than that.
And there's pictures of him on the roof and all these lights flashing at you and music. It's the set decorating on this, they need kudos. They did such an amazing job.
There's one other thing that I really want to mention, Dan, and I don't know if you would have noticed this about the movie, but the way that they do the passage of time in this movie, where he has a little Advent Christmas calendar, and each day he flips it so that you know which day you're on, which it was just such a small detail, but I really liked it. And it's just such an odd thing in this movie too, right? Because why can you give us something so small like that, but then you cannot give us showing him putting up the lights, So it's kind of weird in that sense where I feel like they did some awesome stuff in one area and then they kind of slept on a few things in another area.
I think the Advent calendar thing is yanked from Christmas Vacation. I think that's where I first saw that in a Christmas film.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how it's structured and then goes totally fast and loose at the same time. At one point in time, during the sort of mid-movie, you get the sense that they're leading up to the Christmas fair day. And you think that's kind of going to be the climax of the film with the ice skating race. They kind of allude to that earlier, and you're like, okay, that's probably going to be something that happens. But that kind of just comes and goes, and it's not really the climax of the film at all. It's just another set piece. So it's weird because structurally, you feel like you're getting led by the nose somewhere, and then it kind of just keeps going.
Take it easy, Jackie Chan. Relax. We're not barbarians.
What do you want to do?
Well, there's the little Winterfest coming up. And in the Winterfest, there is an ice skating race.
Yeah. Yeah, great idea. Great idea. You win, I buy the car. I win, you take down the lights.
Deal.
Aaron, I was going to ask you, what did you think of the speed skating scene?
The speed skating scene was, first of all, before I knew anything about the speed skating scene, was hilarious just because it's Danny DeVito. And then clearly at times you can, like, I've never seen Danny DeVito move like that before. You know, he's got his little penguin waddle that he kind of does. And to picture him in a speed skating contest is pretty humorous, and the fact that you could tell that it was like a double made it kind of like comically funny, even though I don't think it was supposed to be. What did you find about that scene?
I was very distracted by like the stuntman and you know, just like the kind of the silliness of it and how it worked. And now that I know it was shot in the middle of July and everyone was sweating in like winter jackets, it kind of, the whole thing just felt kind of cheap and kind of Hallmarkish, if I'm being honest. But, you know, it was funnier the more I learned about it.
So I don't know if you came across this, Stan, but the whole series of events that happened in that speed skating event is actually based on an Olympic speed skating event in 2002 with Australian Stephen Bradbury.
What?
That's a tongue twister. So you guys can actually look this clip up on YouTube, but it's an actual Olympic event where there was speed skating and they were all going down, and the last skater, Stephen Bradbury, he was in last place and all the other skaters wiped out and he won gold for that particular event, which I thought was pretty crazy and also super random that they used this one event to like inspire part of the story here.
Outside, and it's a lot of contact. They've all gone down. Bradbury is going to come through and win gold. Stephen Bradbury from the tail of the field. The Australian has crossed the line first. We will have to wait for the official confirmation. Stephen Bradbury, the 28-year-old from Brisbane. Has he done it?
Oh, man.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And also, it was just so random. But I guess, you know, speed skating, Christmas, cold, ice, it makes sense. You know, I would have also probably a little bit more believable for Matthew Broderick, but I don't know, maybe I would have preferred like an eggnog chugging contest or something like that.
Well, I read that Matthew Broderick actually trained with an Olympic speed skating trainer just for this dorky little scene.
Yeah, which is like
seems
incredible dedication for like, what is it? Maybe not even 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's highly unnecessary, but I loved Fred Armisen in this movie. I just think he's one of the funniest people alive, to be honest. And like,
he is.
All of his scenes. There's even a couple deleted scenes where he just cracks me up so hard.
He's so good at just playing that random funny guy in shows. Like not necessarily having his own show, but just doing the cameo. I don't think that there is a Fred Armisen cameo that I haven't like laughed my butt off at.
Thank you for braving the insanity. I have the songbooks here, so let's pass them along to yourselves.
Aber haben Sie Kinder Braunschweiger?
Oh, yes. Do you have... There's an acorn in my stocking.
No. Haben Sie die Ofensteig?
Oh, yes. Do you have the ignorant snowman?
No, I don't think I do.
Hey, there's a news crew over at the halls.
Another character thing I wanted to talk about was how supportive Buddy's wife is, Tia Hall. She is just like ride or die, hey? I just thought her character was really just, she was so nice and so like there was a few different ways you could have approached her. I was almost thinking of like, this is kind of a weird example, but like imagine if like say Melissa McCarthy was the wife, right? Like she would be just as abrasive and toxic as say Buddy is, but Tia is like the exact opposite, where she's like super nice and super charismatic and super accommodating and really bonds with Kelly Finch. And I just thought that was so, it brought a lot of like warmth to the movie because I don't think I could have handled this film if they were both abrasive and unlikable.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie would have worked.
I guess the light thing is pretty stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Come on, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You want our lights to be seen from space. Certifiable.
I'll take them all down tomorrow.
Now, you touch one bulb on that house, and you've seen the last of my special holiday offers, and I think you know it.
You just said they look stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy. But all good ideas are crazy.
These are lights.
Oh, come on. I think we both know it means more to you than just lights.
And also, if they had like super annoying kids, which I didn't find they had annoying kids, I thought we should talk about the families a little bit because they honestly did a good job. And the two families, apart from the husbands, they had very good chemistry and were very believable together.
Yeah, I thought they were great. They didn't play it too big, and you know the script does some weird things, but like they keep it on the rails, and I like that. Yeah, I liked the families better without the husbands.
Yeah, fair enough.
They seem like genuinely nice people, whereas like Buddy and Steve kind of felt like they'd be locked in this battle forever. Like, I don't think that this movie would necessarily be the end of their conflicts together.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. So something also very cool I found out while watching. Well, I don't know if this is really cool, but I had no idea that Matthew Broderick was married to Sarah Jessica Parker, who was obviously co-stars on Sex and the City with Kristin Davis, right? So it was one of the behind-the-scenes thing was she just mentioned that she felt a little bit weird because she was playing her like one of her or like playing the wife of one of her actual like good friends, actual husband. But no, I don't know why. For some reason, I thought that was very interesting.
Did you know that this is directed by the same guy as Malibu's Most Wanted?
That makes a lot of sense. that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know why that's important to mention, but I guess it's there. That's John Whitesell.
The guy knows how to write a entertaining enough of a movie.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to randomly mention, just because I thought it was so funny, whenever you get like a Christmas movie, you know, there's always a tagline for the Christmas film. And as of 2024, we're really running out of new ideas for Christmas movie taglines.
Yes.
But the one on this poster, Aaron, was just such a slam dunk. The tagline is, "There glows the neighborhood."
Okay.
Come on. Like, someone got a raise, right? Like, that is perfect. Deck the halls, there glows the neighborhood. You know, when we did Jingle All the Way with Arnold a few years back, one of the questions I asked you right off the top of that movie was, why is this called Jingle All the Way?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. But this was like, mwah, chef's kiss.
Did you know that at one point it was going to be called All Lit Up? Which that tagline still works.
I'm still into it. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
All lit up.
All Lit Up, which was Danny DeVito in that one interview on The View.
That's just about the funniest interview I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He was on with us the other day saying that you and he were nude in a sleeping bag in this.
Yes, Matthew is just a fine individual.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
It was fun to do, I take
I
it.
had a great time doing
Danny
that.
has been out partying all night with, tell them, I'm so jealous.
George.
Clooney.
No, I knew it was the last 7 limoncellos that was going to get me.
Yes, exactly. Have you been to sleep yet? Not really.
I don't
Don't
know.
do it now.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait a while.
Wait a couple of minutes.
Go to sleep.
And see, it's things like that make me love Danny DeVito so much. Like, who gets drunk and goes on daytime TV to do an interview?
Openly admits to it and is like actively holding back vomit while he promotes this film.
And the fact that everybody is just like, oh, haha, Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And like, that's the reaction. I
just
feel like
love
Danny DeVito could get away with murder and no one would bat an eye.
This character in Deck the Halls, he is, his 2 daughters see that he cannot see. His house is the only one on the block he can't see from space.
Yeah.
You know how you can look at the thing?
Google Earth.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
look at it.
Yeah.
And he sees the neighbor's house. Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
It's all like really nice and white and this and that. My house looks like it's like, ugly.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, do you have a WTF moment for this film?
Oh, man. It's definitely got to be the Who's Your Daddy scene. That scene was so freaking funny.
So cringe.
Funny.
Why did they say it so awkwardly?
I don't know.
For those that haven't seen the film, describe this scene.
Okay, so it's, these, the two guys, they're trying to bury the hatchet. And what other better way for people to bury the hatchet by being little perverts together? And so that's exactly what's happening. They're finally looking like they're bonding, and they're just catcalling these women on stage because they're in their little, like, sexy Santa's helper costume. And then they just decide to start yelling, "Who's your daddy?" Which to the point they turn around and it's Steve and Buddy's daughters on stage. And then he goes, "I'm your daddy," which is just so friggin' funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo! Hey, baby, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Oh, God, I'm your daddy. I'm your daddy. I'm your daddy. Ah!
My eye!
Oh, God!
My eye!
And then hard cut to a church and they're rinsing their eyes with holy water.
Yeah. Yes, and that's what was so funny too is the holy water scene. Because I don't know, did you see a church? It seems like they went to the church specifically just to wash their eyes out.
Yeah, it's hilarious. That church is in I think it's in New West. I'm pretty sure I drive past that to get my hair cut every month.
My eyes, my eyes.
We're going to hell.
You think I don't know that?
There was a few other WTF moments, after he falls into the lake and he just wakes up to being spooned by naked Buddy and he's like, "What's going on?" And he's just sitting there rubbing him, being like, "I've done this before a few times." Like, that scene was so pretty funny.
He probably saved his life though.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. When I think it's Tia, she comes over to Steve's house and is like, "Oh, we photoshopped you in for your Christmas card," and it's like a picture of him with the two. It's so that's the thing about this movie is it just had so many like little jokes like that just made you crack up.
Yeah,
and I think the last one is, I believe her name is Miss Rio, the old lady from the beginning.
Yeah.
Throughout this movie, this old lady just keeps getting wrecked. She gets roasted by Steve in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. Almost gets hit by the sleigh. Is just constantly like a gag in this movie, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, reoccurring gags like that really help movies like this. I love that kind of comedy.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan, did you have any WTF moments?
Yeah, a couple you already mentioned, obviously the cat calling. One that really jumped out to me was at one point in time when Steve thinks that Buddy is reconciling and he puts the tree in their front room and gives him the van.
Yeah.
This is the tree that Matthew Broderick's character has been looking at like every day.
Yeah.
And Buddy has cut it down. We're to assume he's acted alone, keep in mind. So he's cut down this ginormous tree with all the ornaments intact, except for like one, drives it to Steve's house, breaks in, sets it all up. No one hears this. No one knows this is happening, right? And then the next morning, Steve doesn't even recognize that this tree is the tree that he's been working on like for this Christmas fair for like weeks. And the speed at which they gloss over the fact that Buddy broke into their house overnight is so insane to me. He's just like, "Oh, I think it was Buddy." And you're like, what? Man, if someone broke into my house and set up a Christmas tree that was stolen, like, I'd be calling the police. Like, what is going on here?
Oh, totally.
He's got him on forgery. He's got him on B&E. He's got him on, like, property damage, theft. Like, I was like...
Stealing newspapers, coffee, like...
Yeah, so I was like, if you legitimately want this person out of your life... You're not doing a very good job of it. And the movie's one defense, the thing standing between Steve and essentially justice is because the police chief wears lingerie or something. Like,
oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. You can imagine the writer of the film or the writers of the film being like, well, how do we stop him from going to the police and just like saying all this? And they're like, well, what if the chief of police is just really eccentric or something, or what if he does, like, it's so out of place, the way they try to hand wave this all away as far as just like casual.
That scene with a cop wearing the women's underwear there was pretty WTF.
Yeah, like you said, right? That just they're fast and loose with the passage of time. The fact that no one noticed Buddy cutting down this tree overnight and hauling it off, it's just insane. The whole thing is insane, and there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie.
Maybe Danny DeVito is actually a dwarf. Like, I don't mean like a in a derogatory way, but like, from like Lord of the Rings dwarf, where he lives in a mountain and is just really good at crafting.
Well,
and that's how he gets all this done.
This is why I thought that Steve Finch might have died in the ice, because so much unrealistic and kind of whimsical and magical stuff happens after that it almost felt like it was doing a Christmas Carol thing where there was some magic at work, kind of, making things. Because that's the one thing that this movie kind of lacks, if I'm being honest, is a lot of times in Christmas comedies, even though they'll be super grounded for the most part, sometimes they'll be like a magical quality to them, whether it's like a talking reindeer or like some sort of miracle happens and, it's like a cutesy moment where everyone's like, oh, it is Christmas, that kind of thing. Yeah. But that doesn't happen in this movie. Like, it stays on the rails the entire time. There's no real like Christmas miracle per se. Except for the house shining a beacon into space, maybe. But like,
like a lighthouse.
maybe that's space. It right there. Yeah, but
that's just a guiding light for aliens to come visit us. And the first people they make contact with are going to be Buddy and Steve. Be like, what's wrong with these guys? They're fighting over lights. Yeah,
yeah. That's why I had that dumb theory. Was I was like, this feels a little bit like too unbelievable, even for a movie like this. So
I think that's probably the biggest plot hole for me is just, the passage of time that kind of goes on and obviously with the amount of work that goes into for setting up lights.
Oh, it's insane.
If they just kind of made that one thing a little bit more realistic, I think that this movie would be higher than 6%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, it takes a couple hours just to decorate a tree sometimes, and it's like, I just can't imagine the amount of work that he put into that house. And then to still have his wife and daughters champion him is just like, it's so extraordinary. Even that is almost unbelievable in itself because, like, he's neglecting everything else, right? And so it's just really unbelievable. And I think the movie demands a bit too much of the audience with some of those, like, jumps. It would be different if his family was helping him, maybe. If there was like a whole crew, if he owned a construction company or something and he was using equipment or, coworkers.
But even at the end of the movie, when all the neighbors show up to help him set up all the Christmas lights again, he has like the whole town helping set up Christmas lights.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it's believable.
I just want to know if the townspeople kept that path up from the hotel to his house. They're just like,
they come out and they're like, everybody is like, where does this path lead us? And they just keep walking it.
It like crosses the interstate and they have to like build a bridge or something.
just a part 2 to this movie where it's them just walking from the hotel back to their house on this path. And it's like all this crazy stuff going on in their like walk back.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
Deck the halls.
Where are my clothes?
I had to get your body temperature up, so I zipped this into the sleeping bag. Trust me, it works.
There's so much like takedown involved at the end of this film. There's so much like menial hours and hours worth of wrapping cables that it has to happen in the universe of this film, and it's just like a nightmare.
Yeah. And I would love to just see what the power bill is.
Oh, I know. They don't even... That's actually kind of annoying because they reference it a ton of times, so we never get the payoff.
Yeah.
We never see Steve's point of view on it. We never see Buddy's point of view on it.
I think probably one of the things I hated the most was the fact that he was stealing power from his neighbors and nobody noticed.
Yeah.
If I walked outside my house and I saw an extension, like I would immediately notice someone stealing power from me.
Yeah.
My house is not that big, but it doesn't take very much to see a cord plugged into the side of your house, wherever your outlet is, right? So that too, I would have liked to see a little bit maybe earlier on that they kind of discover that.
Yeah.
But I would say, apart from those kind of like glaring issues that we just kind of got into there, if you clean those up a little bit more, I think this movie would rate a lot better.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to recommend it to somebody?
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito in a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
that's what I
much.
would say.
Yeah, why not? The rest is just details, really. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm just still so shocked I didn't know this movie existed. But I mean, a lot of people did, right? Like it's one of the top 10 on Netflix right now. So obviously people are in the mood for it, and they're in the mood for a Christmas film. So hopefully they're in the mood for our review as well, and they check this out.
Yeah. And I wonder how many people are going, oh, Danny DeVito in a Christmas movie? Hell yeah.
I wonder how many people were like me and thought that it just came out.
Yeah.
I feel so embarrassed.
Dan, do you have a rating that you would give this movie that's better than the 6% potato meter and the 30% popcorn meter?
So, first off, this rating for this movie is straight up bullshit. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
6%? Are you kidding me? 6%. Just the craftsmanship of the light show and putting that all together and building these two houses and the lengths they went to create this winter atmosphere. You know, just the sheer work that went into these lights and the acting and the comedy and the families and the harmless nature of it too, by the way. Like, this is pretty much a family film with a few like adult jokes or whatever, but like this could easily be in people's yearly repertoire of films. So
might be in mine.
Yeah, I don't get it. A lot of the movies we do on this podcast, the ratings, I can see where they're coming from, for sure. But this one messes with my head a little bit.
Yeah.
Audience rating, sure, 30%, whatever. There's better Christmas movies out there. But 6%? Are you kidding me? We're talking like we're talking like Gigli bad? Like, what are we talking here? This is crazy. So as far as Christmas movies go, you know, take it or leave it. This is above 50%. It has to be. It's just insane to me. You have two iconic actors in a harmless Christmas movie. I don't get it. I would say, honestly, high 60s, low 70s, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay.
Just because of some of the weird time things, some of the weird script things. It's a little tonally jarring sometimes. But honestly, man, I don't get it. 6%. That's very surprising to me. Very, very surprising.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm surprised that your rating there is a little bit higher than what I would have given it, but I'd say probably around that 52%.
Yeah.
It has enough stuff in this movie to be an entertaining movie. And that's why it's for sure above the 50% mark.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite have enough to make it go higher than 60% for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I get that.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I'm now that I hear you say that, I think I agree with you more. I think I'm there too. Yeah.
You're just in the Christmas spirit.
I am.
Giving good ratings away to everyone.
Well, except for that Dear Santa movie. I was pretty hard on that one, but...
yeah.
You know...
Well, and you're pretty hard on Jack Black as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Mark my words. No, the other thing this movie did, just in closing, one of the things I really, really liked was how much time it spent on the actual light show, because there is such a build-up and anticipation of what Buddy's working on. And rather than it be just like a throwaway couple of seconds of, hey, the house is really bright, like they do in like Christmas Vacation, it's actually a pretty considerable chunk of movie time. Like, it's probably 5 minutes-ish of like the actual show and like showing, you know, like the music and the sequencing, and they really show off what they've created. And I think that's awesome because, you know, you could have cut it for time. For sure, this movie could have been shorter, but I like that they let the house impress, and that's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to mention that because it stuck out to me.
They just cut out setting up the lights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could have trimmed some fat from this movie for sure, but... You know, they weren't just gonna do all this crazy sequencing and decorating, you know, to just show us a couple glimpses of it. They really let it happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. It's really cool because, you know, a lot of people have a tradition where they'll drive and go see Christmas lights and go through neighborhoods.
Yep.
And that's like the centerpiece of this film. And so as you're sitting there on the couch watching this movie, it's like you're the audience member seeing their house and going past it and seeing how extravagant and how much work's gone into it. And I think that's underappreciated for this film. I think that's actually a pretty cool like Christmas tradition that they're touching on. That frankly, I don't think any other Christmas movies really do. Seeing the lights is
that's a good point.
Kind of an underrated thing. I know it's one of my favorite things. Down here in Coquitlam, they do this thing called Lights at Lafarge, where around Lafarge Lake in Coquitlam, they set up Christmas lights around the entire lake, and it's this path you walk around the entire lake.
Yeah.
And it's one of my. I look forward to it every year because it's just so elaborate and cool, and every year it gets a little bigger and a little better. So
in Edmonton here, we have Candy Cane Lane and some adventure park thing where they do a whole Christmas lights thing, and it's like, who doesn't like lights?
Yeah, exactly, and it's a hard energy to capture on film because it's such a visual. It's you lose something in translation, but this movie really lets you sit with it, and I think that's really a cool thing to do, at least to try. And so that's great. I think they capture a feeling there. Well, Aaron, as we put this candy cane back in the stocking, any final words on Dick the Balls?
Did you say Dick the Balls?
Yeah, sorry.
No, not particularly. Other than, hey, you like Matthew Broderick? You like Danny DeVito? I got a movie for you.
Great. Well, that was 2006's Deck the Halls. If you enjoyed today's show, please check out our social media links. They're all in the show notes. Drop us a rating because it helps us beat the algorithms. And please, if you like what you're hearing, share it with a few people. Let them know we exist. We'd sure appreciate that. And check out our Jury Duty episodes where we touch on some more recent releases and give some preliminary thoughts on more recent stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for In Defense of, a movie podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
We went in and we made it our business.
Good.
To really wreck the joint.
Yeah.
I mean, every place in that bedroom was
Utilized.
utilized.
There you go, Danny.